If you wanted to know what Alex Clare and Marit Larsen have in common, or why Marit had a trip to Nashville, if she wanted to get some styling tips from Miley Cyrus, just watch our interview with the singer from Norway. My name is Ann-Kathrin and you are watching Audiophile TV. Enjoy.
Audiophile.
This is not a song about his lips. This is not another tender wish. That was then and these are different days. But even now I sometimes miss the taste. This is not a song about a night when we were young and everything was right, when all the things we did just seemed to work. Now the news is old and it all just seems to hurt, just seems to hurt. Don't talk about what we are, don't talk about what we've been. What's done is done. I don't want to talk about it. It's never just one mistake, it's never just one heartbreak. What's done is done. I don't want to talk about it.
Hello Marit, nice to meet you.
Thanks for having me.
You have just released your new album, When the Morning Comes, in Germany. How is it for you that the album has been released in Norway already last autumn?
Well, I wanted to really take my time there with the release. Since I lived there and have had an audience there for so many years, I really wanted to take my time and do a tour there and really take my time with the release. So now I get to do it all over again. It's very exciting. I'm very happy to be back here. I spend a lot of time making my records. It's been 3 years since the last one. I really want to make sure that what I release is something that is a true part of me, that comes from my core and that I can be proud of. And then coming back and seeing all these doors are still open and people are still listening and the feedback is so good. It's just been it's been another adventure for us, for me and my band. So we're pretty thrilled right now.
And you really came back because the album has been recorded in Nashville. Why did you go there?
I fell in love with Nashville as a city a couple of years back. I felt a pull to Nashville because I've been listening to folk and bluegrass and country music for about half my life. But then I also started noticing all these other records from in other genres that were always leading back to Nashville. I was checking the credits like, wow, so they recorded that there. So I went there. I wanted to investigate to see, what was in the water there, what was going on. And I found some amazing studios. I found some amazing collaborators, very exciting, all of it. And I ended up recording the whole album there. So now I have a constant longing for Nashville, another city on my list.
But at the moment it seems to be very hip recording in Nashville.
Yeah.
Do you feel like being part of this hipness?
I feel very hip. No, it's I understand it. I mean, it feels like a lot of what's going on in Nashville right now are people who have been traveling the world and they come back and they want to make Nashville an exciting and beautiful place to live that is also more modern. There's a lot of great food to eat, except for fried chicken. I love fried chicken, but still, it's a great city. It's very diverse. There's a lot of a very rich culture scene there. So the 2 months that I was there recording was not enough at all. I need to go back.
So I guess that you recorded with musicians from Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee. What sort of input did they give to you, to your music?
Well, first of all, they are amazing, brilliant musicians. But I've worked with really amazing musicians before. I think the biggest difference is they had never heard my music before. They knew nothing of my catalog, and I asked them not to Google me. I wanted to, for once, since I've been making records for quite a few years now, and I wanted to give myself and the music the possibility to have something that resembles a clean slate. I wanted to try that, and I was so relieved to find that even in that situation, in a new studio with new people, my signature is now strong enough that you can absolutely hear that it's my music. I also was a producer for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I had an amazing, my dear friend Topher Brown, I made him a co-producer, and he helped me find my band and everything. But this was the first recording process where I had the final word, the last word, and I felt ready for it. It was a good challenge. I think that I can now sit here and present this album and just be very proud of the whole thing. Yeah.
And what is new about the music or the new Marit?
Well, I feel that ever since I started writing songs and up until today, I've been evolving as a songwriter. I think being in Nashville and being surrounded by some of the greatest songwriters in the world, I really had to step up my game. I had to evolve as a storyteller. I think it became very important for me to figure out what separated me from everyone else instead of trying to fit in, because writing music in Nashville is like selling sand in Sahara. You know, there's so much of it, and I think it was a very inspiring process because you're surrounded by so much amazing quality that you just have to do your very best. Yeah.
Has it become a sort of burden writing music in Oslo or in Norway at home?
No, writing music is never a burden, but I always was always very fond of traveling when I was writing, but I've ended up recording my records in Oslo, and so I think there's always been like maybe whistling out a little bit when I came home and editing lyrics and not being as brave. But here I stayed in Nashville, and I feel that it's more a complete thought. It's a finished work.
And is there less pressure maybe if you are in a foreign country, in a foreign studio?
I think the pressure is always high, but I learned that the person who is putting the most pressure on me is me. And so I'm always my harshest critic. I always I have that little voice in my head, you know, no matter if I'm recording or if I'm writing. So the pressure is always on, but I think there was something liberating about being somewhere and not having any reactions to it while I was working on it. I think you're right.
You started playing music when you've been a little child. You played the violin, I think.
Yeah. When I was 5.
I couldn't find so much about your childhood. No. Why?
Because I've been very private about my childhood. I think I did start, there's documentation about me doing musical theater. I started doing that professionally when I was 8, from 8 to 12, which was an important time in my life. And then I got the first record deal with M2M when I was 13 years old. Mm-hmm. But everything else has been kept a secret. I think it started with my parents giving me that advice that I should keep something for myself. Not that there's anything unordinary or anything about it, but just because a big part of my life was very exposed. We've been very private about everything else. And that's still in my blood. So apart from the music and being in the music industry, people don't know that much about me. I'm very proud of that.
Sometimes it is better, I think, to keep some secrets, which keeps you interesting.
Well, I think every artist has their way of doing things, but for me, that is absolutely essential. It is. Also, the artists that I'm a fan of, if I know too much about their lives, then I can read into all their lyrics and know exactly what is about whom and all that. I think it makes it a little less interesting.
Sometimes even boring.
Yeah, at least if you read everything in a magazine already, the song is not going to have any sensation.
Okay, so no yellow press artist.
No, I like pop music. So obviously, you know, even though I know a lot about Taylor Swift, I still enjoy her music. Yeah.
It is interesting, I think, that there is so many good musicians from Norway, but especially, I have the impression that pop music is more Sweden and Norway is more jazz music. So could you also have ended up in jazz?
Well, I could probably have. I think the classical scene and also hard rock is bigger in Norway than pop music. The Swedes have got it down with the pop music. They, you know, they have a long history. We have that one victory with Aha in the 80s, and now, you know, we have Röyksopp, and there are a lot of other artists that are coming out of there. And the internet is definitely a help. Yeah.
Did you also sing some songs in Norwegian? I think there has been one song in Norwegian, but has it been released?
I've released 2 songs in Norwegian, but they're both cover songs for different projects. And I write in Norwegian, but so far my creative language is English. I've been listening to, you know, I started listening to the Beatles when I was, 11 years old, and my creative language has always been English. But I write other things in Norwegian. I write text in Norwegian, but not with music yet.
For book or?
Yeah, possibly.
Short stories, or is it a?
Yeah, it's still a secret.
Okay.
Like everything else.
And what do your parents think about your music? Your father is playing the cello in a symphony orchestra, so in the classical music, and your mother is a music teacher.
Yeah, now she's a pianist, and now she's the vice principal of the biggest music school in Norway. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm very proud of them. They were very skeptical in the beginning, I think. They had nothing to do with the pop industry. And if I have children one day, I don't know what I'll say if they want to do it. Because this ended up really well for me, because now I actually chose this as a profession. And now I feel like ever since I was 8 years old, this has been part of my education. And being able to do and play music every day, and now have it slowly evolve into a work, my work, is for me it's become a beautiful story. But I think there are so many X factors there things that can go wrong along the way. All the pressure and the isolation and not going to regular school and all of that. It's a big risk. So I think my parents and I, every once in a while, we're like, okay. They just came to. I had a sold-out show in a beautiful big venue in Oslo on this tour, and I could see them both out there, and we're kind of like, yeah, it all worked out. They were kind of relieved and happy, yeah.
But maybe because they did not have any experience with the pop business, it was easier.
But yeah, I joke to them about that. Like, if you had known what this record industry was really like, then you would have never said yes. But until I was 18, my mother traveled with me, and you know, it's just like raising kids in general. What you do when they're a child, like what you put into their heads, is what's going to make them make good decisions later in life. It's not about actually being there for everything, but I think, you know, I have a good head on my shoulders. It's worked out well. It has.
And do they also like pop music, or are they completely into classical?
They're not really into pop music.
Okay.
Still not. So.
But they like your songs, I hope.
They do like my songs.
Okay.
Well, they have to like my songs. They're my parents. They would like anything I would create. They used to like my drawings, and I don't really know how to draw. Yeah, but I'm really happy that they gave me the opportunity, and it's been an adventure. You know, it's this year it's 18 years since my first record came out.
In another interview, I read that you said you would take some ideas from your friend's life.
Yes, I steal.
Is it still?
Recklessly. Yeah, I do, but since I'm telling the story, it goes through my brain and my emotions and everything. So I end up telling the stories as if things happen to me, since I sing mostly about feelings. But I am very fortunate to have friends that lead much more interesting lives than me. And like right now, my days are, there's a lot of excitement and I get to do a lot of different interviews, but right now I only do interviews and talk about myself.
I hope you have a lot of friends you can talk about.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
On the new album, do you have any favorite song?
I think this changes every day, but right now I have to say When the Morning Comes.
Okay.
It was the last song that was completed for the album, and it feels to me like a personal reassurance or like a warrior song. I tend to, my head tends to fill up and get cloudy every once in a while. I get very focused on details that are not important. I go through things that have happened in my life over and over to try to pick them apart and make sense of it all. And I guess it's also like an occupational habit, you know, since I'm a writer. But that song is about coming back to the core of what is really important. It's like a pep talk to myself, really.
And what is really important, in your opinion?
That whole lyric. All those things.
Okay.
4 minutes.
I also like or love Please Don't Fall For Me.
Thank you.
Which is really, really a nice pop song. It is easy going, but the lyrics are not that easy going, so...
Thank you. Yeah, it's a cocky lyric, I find, but it's a good example of something I probably wouldn't have recorded in Norway. But I'm really proud that it stayed on the record because I like the song so much.
What about Shine On, Little Diamond? If I thought, oh, Rihanna.
Yeah, exactly.
That was my first impression.
Diamonds, yeah. It's gonna be a single, and we're working on the cover, and
okay.
We were trying to find a way to draw a diamond that is not like already absorbed by pop culture, but it's impossible. It's not gonna happen.
I think too.
Yeah.
And what about Lean On Me, Lisa, which is also a nice song because it is so different from the others, I think.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it. It's a song I wrote to my best friend, actually.
She is called Lisa?
No, I changed her name.
Ah, okay.
I changed her name. She has a Norwegian sounding name and it doesn't really sing that well. But one of my biggest fears in life is that because I have chosen this way of living and I travel so much, I'm constantly missing things. Oslo doesn't wait for me, so if I'm gone for 3 months, then I come back and somebody got married or had a baby. And I'm very fortunate to have very amazing friends in my life who are always there for me. I can always turn to them and call them about no matter what, they're always there. And then since I'm sometimes on a different time zone, like I was when I was in America, every once in a while I have that experience that I'm not sure what's going on. And that song was written after a phone call. I called home because I was thrilled and excited that everything was going so well and I was so inspired. And I could hear in a matter of probably 2 sentences that she was not feeling well, that she had had a really rough time. And she hadn't called me about it and let me know. And it just absolutely destroyed me. I was so sad.
But why didn't she call you?
No, so we had to have another one of our talks. I'm like, because she didn't want to disturb me.
Okay.
Because I had been quiet for a while, which usually means that I'm working on something really hard. But if I can't be a good friend, then I really, it devalues my work, I think. Then I don't think it's not worth it anymore. So I wrote her that song and I sent it to her, and now it's hers, and now I can also be reminded when I'm on tour that I want to be that friend. I think that is one of the most important things in my life.
And it is sort of a reminder, oh, I haven't called her for 2 weeks now, I have to call her again.
Yeah, definitely. And I think now, you know, when I started traveling it was different, but now it's so easy for me to spy on my friends online. I have Facebook, I have Instagram, I have everything, so I can keep track of them better. It sounds very funny, but it's easier for me not to have to go home now and then have the whole conversation. Like I know a little bit. I don't need the whole update.
And which things are you also missing in your life? You mentioned you would be missing Oslo, for example, or your friends.
When I travel, I miss my grand piano and my fridge. I love to cook, so I really miss, it sounds so dorky, but I miss my refrigerator. You know, the privilege of filling it with things you like and being able to cook what you want. Of course, and also I have a little garden patch, and it goes absolutely bananas when I'm not there to take care of it. Luckily, the Norwegian summer lasts about 10 minutes. So
okay.
It's okay.
But it's so funny because I end up in every interview within the last weeks talking about food.
Yes.
But I
it's
don't
the
know.
greatest thing. You know, we have to eat at least 3 times a day, and we can actually eat things we enjoy.
It started with Jason Russ talking about being vegan, and ended up with J.J. Gray talking about spices. So everybody is, or Alex Clare, he has been, he's a cook. Before he started his music career, he was a cook in London. So
I would love to open a restaurant. I think one day I will. It's a lot of work.
In
It's
Oslo?
hard work. Yeah, possibly.
Is there still this restaurant Mink? We have been at Oslo some years ago, and I think we had to pay 40 euro for a salad, and I was shocked.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So I wish you the best for this new album.
Thank you so
So
much.
you can afford food and dinner at restaurants in
Please
Oslo.
buy my record so I can open a
Yeah.
restaurant.
Perfect.
Very
Thank
good.
you so much, Marit.
Thank you.
Au, di, o, vi,
That's an original angle.
au, vi, au, di, o, vi.